Welcome back. We are having our second conversation this morning, and we are sitting down with mayoral candidate from the United Democratic Party. That is Dr. Nelma Mortis Jones. Good morning, doctor. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning, Belize City resident. I'm fine, thank you.
It's nice to have you here with us this morning. I can imagine that this week is going to be a crazy busy week. Yeah?
Well, the week began. Today is what, Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yes, and tomorrow makes it, I guess I'll be up from about 4.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be, because we are doing the final stage of the election, which is to ensure that logistical things are, and planning are in place for the election day and thereafter.
Yeah, and thereafter indeed. I wanna get a brief introduction from you, Dr. Jones, because you are relatively a fresh face on the political scene. So I want to get an introduction from you to have the people in Belize City and the country by extension know who you are and a bit of your background.
I repeated this so many times. Okay, I have 30 or more years in the education sector. So I'm an educator by heart. I believe that three generations while I was walking on the campaign trail is what I've inherited.
Wow.
I am also a researcher. I am very passionate about Belize and its development. And I'm a social activist. I basically would like to see us transform and develop from that end. So entering politics, I came with the background of strong leadership. I believe my leadership, I guess my resume speaks for itself, but in terms of my passion and the leadership is that I have watched many years and I see where we need leaders who will break barriers in terms of culture, in terms of systems, in terms of industries, in terms of cooperation. That is the only way I think we in this region will be able to press forward and make a difference. Now, that doesn't mean that in my lifetime it will occur, but it simply means that those behind me can continue to blaze the trail.
Yeah, and you wanted to make an impact in some way.
In my time.
As a woman in politics, how have you been able to navigate the landscape? You have your eyes set on City Hall. You would, if you're successful, be the second woman mayor, a United Democratic Party mayor at that. What has it been like in terms of being able to negotiate the landscape that is dominated by men?
I have prepared myself. I knew that I wanted to do this. I had it as a plan. And so I knew that I was going into a man's world. And I prepared myself. One of the things that I have learned is that I cannot internalize people's behavior, their personality, that sort of thing. I am this kind of person that I'm very much aware, and I try to meet people where they're at. Indeed, before coming in, we have been hearing about women being hard against women, but I can tell you simply that I've had a lot of support from women, and it's because we want a voice at the table. I have had a bit, not much, a bit, but maybe after this it can get a little bit more intensified of challenges from men around me. It's because I don't know if it's your wiring or whatever it is, but when I have to press on something that I'm convicted about and it's not aligned with their perspective, or they get this impression that you're talking down to them, and I'm not that kind of person. I talk with, it's one of my premise. So I have a few little incidents of that part of it.
And that's since you've taken on this political
Right.
journey?
I'm not even there yet.
Wow.
And just being in the work circles, I've had a bit of challenges there.
You've put together a pretty impressive manifesto presentation, both tangible and online as well. And you've shared it or launched it to the public quite a few days ago too. Let's talk a bit about the information that you were able to gather from speaking with the people and how you presented it through your manifesto or on your manifesto.
Okay, a lot of thought went into the manifesto. As I said before, there's nothing new under the sun. I believe we have been doing the same over and over and expect a different result. Belize City, in and of itself, is an urban space, and it's growing, and it will definitely grow much more. A lot of what we have seen canvassing the ground is a lot of unplanned development. I have seen people being settled in swampy areas, and those swampy areas are critical to flooding and the weather conditions that we will face. And so I have to, in my head, internalize, how do we address a situation like that, yet not displace people? That's one. My manifesto was developed looking at the Sustainable Development Goals 2030, which is a post-COVID view. I know my incumbent is speaking a lot to inheriting challenges after COVID and even with the hurricane. But I think that's another problem we face in this region. We tend to plan for only right a couple feet ahead of us rather than have a larger plan. I don't think we should be making excuses in terms of hurricane being, there should be a plan for that, despite the fact. So that is one thing that I would like our leaders to understand, that we have to project, and we can't project just for 5 years or for the 3-year term that we are in. It's for a longer term. So I wouldn't use it as an excuse, because that will show that it lacks in terms of your leadership and your management. So we have the Sustainable Development Goals that guided us. There is an intense, in-depth, very smart research that was done by Karim Usher, who is a Belizean. I think he's from the University of Oklahoma. He came down to Belize, worked with other urban planners, worked with urban planners. I think it is Caroline Trench, Sandy Ford. And they have given an ideal prescription for each constituency, the 10 constituency in Belize. I don't see how you could go wrong. I'm a data-driven person, and so I don't come up with ideas just from my gut feeling. You know, I looked at research, so that was one. And of course, as a researcher, we have done the canvassing and have gathered the data of what we see, observations, of what we hear from the people, and we have juxtaposed all of this together to come up with our manifesto. Now, the manifesto in and of itself is a unique way of approaching urban planning. A lot of people still struggling to internalize because, and I know I'll have challenges, while I have challenges because the manifesto is not totally aligned with the City Council Act. But that doesn't mean I said we have to break barriers. We have to invade systems. So in my position, even if it's that I get to do, but addressing the landscape or the urban space of Belize City requires us to use 3 pillars. Looking at the social, I know here my incumbent speaking to social infrastructure. Looking at the physical infrastructure, which is the environment, and also looking at the economic development. People, the livelihood of people, if we don't do job creation, we will continue to face the crime and violence situation that we face in Belize. So it's those 3 pillars that our manifesto is grounded in.
How do you, I listened to a lot of what you've just said, and perhaps at our level, it makes perfect sense. It's understandable and it's rational. How do you take that and translate it to the average person on the ground in certain pockets of our society? How do you allow for that message to resonate with them as well?
Okay, see if I can break it down. It's a holistic approach to development. It's a holistic approach to improving the city. We're not looking at the city from only drain, streets, parks situation. We are getting a bigger picture to it. We also want to ensure that our people are happy. We have happy people, we'll have a happy Belize city. So in doing so, we will do a lot of collaboration with our agencies, with our departments, with people who have interaction, social interaction with people within these communities. We will be that voice of reasoning for them. And the last part has to do with ensuring maintenance and cleanup for a beautiful green space Belize city. That is my 100 days aim after election tomorrow, is to get the city clean up.
Okay.
The city is really dirty. I don't know what went wrong. I don't see how post-COVID or hurricane could have avoided that. I think it's a management issue.
I think one of the questions that we've been asking all the mayors is, or all the mayoral candidates, is if they enter this local government and they do not enjoy the confidence of the central government, for instance, in your case, being from the United Democratic Party, how do you intend to make it work still? Especially since we've been talking about municipal government being, or should be, autonomous.
And that's the problem. That's the problem that we face, in the sense that if central government is in, it doesn't matter which political party sits there. The political party should be looking at the country's development, not at the color of the people who are elected to do that. And that is something that we really have to break.
It speaks to political maturity, though.
Right.
That's what it boils down to.
Yes, correct. Very good point. In my leadership, even if we have to be creative, there's a way and there are always ways to get around it. So I am remaining positive, because I know I will be the next mayor of Belize City. I say that confidently, that I will work with the government of the day. It can be done. Let me tell you why. Because we see a lot of electioneering happening at this present moment. The last couple months, people's livelihood and people's happiness, people's quality of life is dependent on an election, where now we are getting better streets, better because the incumbent wants to get back in place. That should not be. And under my leadership, I would feel like a failure if I wait until the last 3 months to show people. I mean, the demographics and the landscape of Belize in terms of people looking at these things, people are getting smarter. We're in an information age. So when you do that, you are showing up your failure. And there is money, because 50 million has been granted to be shared countrywide to do infrastructure. So why not? That is just my take on it.
One of the municipalities that we have our eye on is obviously Belize City, but also Santa Elena and San Ignacio, particularly because of the obvious having a mayor from the UDP, and then generally almost all of the councillors being PUP. The reason why I bring that up is because you mentioned that you're confident you will be the next mayor. But what if there's a case like Cayo, where it's a mixed slate, where you are outnumbered by your councillors from the opposing side? How do you plan to take that on?
And Mr. Trapp still produced, even with with a PUP slate. Now that, in my estimation, is to get those who are not from my political party become politically mature about the situation, and that will require a lot of training and professional development to help us to see the big picture rather than to see the red or the blue. Yeah. So that is my take on that.
Let's talk about Belize City from the perspective of municipal governance, specific to transparency and accountability. So oftentimes you have mayors who take office, they come along with their councillor candidates, and they're not as open in terms of being able to show Belize City residents what is taking place at City Hall regarding public finances, regarding the expenditure of those funds and what have you. Where do you stand on that, the issue of transparency and accountability?
I think that is something that is keeping back the region, or keeping back us in Belize. The aspect of transparency and accountability. In fact, the whole world, I was looking at a research on the African countries. Even those leaders, they fight to want to come back for a third term, which kind of could have some effects on democracy. When we have people in leadership too long, yeah, they take advantage. That's a fact. There is no if or doubt. On the other hand, too, from a leadership standpoint, development requires more than just the 3 years. Now, one of the things I would like for us to do, whether PUP or UDP, is to get our local people to understand, to get our people, the residents, to understand local government and the importance of local government. Because a lot of people don't come out to vote. They don't see the value in local government. Local government is supposed to be that part of governance that ensure that you get the quality of services so that you live a happy life daily, a quality life daily. So I am begging the residents out there, especially the young people, you don't understand enough yet, and it is our fault as leaders who we do not take the opportunity to get you to understand the importance of local government. But you must come out tomorrow and vote. It is your right, it is your duty. You can make a change for our city. Coming back to the point, though, of transparency and accountability, in our manifesto, we have highlighted the fact that we will do biannual reports. One of the things I said to my campaign manager recently is that on this website, we have to attach something to the fact that we could maintain and keep up the website. Because one of the problems we have is that we create websites, but we don't maintain and keep it going daily. Yeah. So I already see that I have to go to City Hall for me to understand what other mechanism I should put in place to ensure that this happen, and it happen on a daily basis or monthly basis or whatever. I know that because I went on the current website for the City Council. I wanted to look at, is there a super bond that still exists, certain things. And the website was not upkept, the minutes of the meeting were not kept up, and so forth. Again, it's a management issue. I am not casting blame to say anybody is doing anything wrong, but you have to make people, you have to have a level of community trust. And in having community trust, you have to ensure that structures and your processes are in place so that people feel comfortable with what you are doing. So we have to keep them informed as much as possible.
My last question from my end is, I'll start with painting a picture and then I'll get your input. On a day like tomorrow, municipals, you'll have traditionally low voter turnout. For the same reason that you pointed out, people don't see it as important as they should. They, for whatever reason, place more confidence in their area representative to be able to take care of certain responsibilities that truly are the responsibilities of the municipal government, be it a town council or a city council, right? And so they believe, okay, if I go to my area rep, he will help me with the street problem or the drainage problem or maybe in some case even the social issues that they're facing, right? But by and large, those are specific responsibilities to the municipality, to the city council or the town council. How do you then persuade people? I know you'd mentioned earlier that tomorrow you're appealing to young voters to come out and what have you. But it's not just a young person's or young voters thing. It's a widely held or a deeply held tradition that people not come out for municipal elections, they wait for the big one. How do you convince them otherwise?
It's a good picture you painted there. I spoke to the young people because they're my passion. I serve them, and I know where they stand there. You're right. Going into the community, some people don't, I mean, mature people really don't see the importance. But I think over the last couple months canvassing, I think a lot of people got an eye-opener as to the municipal versus the
Central.
not the central government, but the standard bearers in those communities. For me, the city council stand as an independent body, indeed. So there has to be greater collaboration, whether red or blue, with the standard bearers, so that they understand their role. Because a lot of time we have dysfunction when people don't know their roles and function.
That's true.
And so that is something that we need to clear up. The difference between, and the collaboration that should happen between the city council and the standard bearer for each constituency. We have to see the big picture. We have to take the parts of the puzzle and see how we could fit it best. That is a major issue. I've picked up a lot of organizational issues during my time. This is just the last couple of months, or 6 months, 7 months, being in this political career. I can understand why people think politics is dirty, why it's a rough game and that sort of thing. Yeah, it's a game. There has to be political strategies. As I keep maintaining, I am about policy and pushing for policies. Of course, I represent the United Democratic Party, so the political strategies has to be there, but it doesn't have to be this dirty game that occurs. And I say that to say that we have put up our banners around the city, and they are being taken down. And our males maintain the status quo that this is a dirty game, but failing to realize that they should be empowering people. The banners and the flags are not the voters. You know, what impact, what effect does that have? What message does that send about you and your leadership?
Yeah.
And you serving people on the ground, and then people come to me and say, but uno to staff, uno need to aggress a little bit more. I mean, I am saying it's not about that.
It can't be about that.
That's right. And I'm telling you, we live in an information age where people are now thinking for themselves. So the old politicking way, the traditional way, politicians need to get it right.
I wanna ask you, Dr. Nelma, about your team that you are taking with you tomorrow. Tell us a bit about the people that you have with you and why you believe that they're the best for the people of Belize City.
I wasn't a part of the selection process. I didn't know who I was going to get. One of the things in terms of me, I surround myself with like minds. And so when I first got the slate, I did another colleague and I, we did our research, we used our social science background, and we look at the whole entire team. And I'm telling you, I have a top heavy, it's not a top heavy because I have 5 teachers on the slate. Now these 5 teachers though, do understand our social reality. They are thinkers, they are creative in terms of, you know, what it is that we need, not that the others don't. I also have community activists on it. I have a youth representation or a youth voice on it. I have a legal mind, a paralegal who also sits on this. I have somebody with accountant background, and I have someone who knows about maintenance of the streets and the big machines and those sort of things. So I have a diversified group in terms of age, in terms of experiences, in terms of qualification. However, I am not satisfied with just saying that in and of itself. There are lots of room for, again, building their competence and ensuring that they understand their role in terms of community leadership.
All right, well, Dr. Nelma, we are winding down on time, so I will give you this last 5 minutes to speak to the people of Belize City and let them know why they should vote for you and your team tomorrow.
Good morning, Belize. Yes. I believe that I came with a different leadership style. I believe that I am passionate about my country and its development. So I bring good leadership to the city. And the team behind me will also share the same passion and the same goal. I want to say to you all, under the United Democratic Party, we have seen that the City Council, Belize City Council, we have had two great leaders, and they have left a legacy that I must also fulfill. And so I want to say to you that I came with innovations, I came with long-term thinking and goals for our city. And so tomorrow I am appealing to you all to come out, vote, make your voice be heard, and I will become that voice of reasoning for you all after March 6th, when I'm elected as the mayor of Belize City.
All right.
Well said.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nelma, for stopping by and sharing with us just some of the ways that you intend to shape the city if you are the next mayor. All the best. Good luck tomorrow. And we can't wait to see what happens.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alrighty, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, the conversation continues. We'll be sitting down with the mayoral candidate for a third party, PDM. Stay with us. We'll be right back.